What is your name and what do you do?
My name is Melody Henry. I am a yoga teacher, and I also own this bar, Lucky 13 Saloon, which is a metal bar in Brooklyn.
At Gooier Pancake 2631 asks, were you aware that your interview in the 90s would be used to inspire a cartoon character?
Yes, they asked me specifically to come and interview for that. So it was a specific thing.
Could you tell us a little bit about that experience?
I actually don't remember how they got in touch with me. I feel like over the years I've been like offered weird jobs, like, do you want to be on Law and Order SVU? Like, just, I bombed that though when I went for the reading. But like this thing, I don't even know where it came from, but they asked me a lot of questions and it went on for I feel like it went on for a long time. I don't remember how long, but it was long. And I wish I knew where all that footage was now, because I'd love to know what I said 20, some odd years ago. Different person.
How do you feel knowing that the character you inspired is one of the most popular characters on the show?
I actually didn't know that, so that's awesome.
From your experience over the years, have people become more or less accepting of alternative lifestyles?
Oh my God, so much more. I feel like back then I was such a freak just because I had all black on, or I wore black lipstick, or maybe I had a tattoo. Over the years I had gotten more tattoos and piercings, and it was like unacceptable back then. And now everybody has tattoos. It's like become really mainstream. So now the younger generation is like getting tattoos on their faces and doing things that like we really didn't do because it's so over the top,
At article_feminine asks, what are your thoughts on the goth scene today?
Honestly, I'm not in it that much. I do go to an occasional goth party. I do go to shows when like Sisters of Mercy came to town, Bauhaus, I do go to the shows. And when I go to the shows, I see all of the old school goths from back in the day, that when we were all going to clubs together and stuff back then. But what the goth clubs now are different, and there's actually younger people into it, which I find surprising, but that's awesome, And they also have a similar look that we did back then, but I feel like it's a little more refined, and sometimes it's a little more in the fetish realm than when we were like maybe a little more, 18th century sometimes. So.
Are you still in tune with your goth side, or do you lean more toward another subculture?
I would say that I started out as like a metalhead punk kid, and when I was young, I used to go to this club called L'Amour in Brooklyn. I saw a million shows there. I saw metal bands that were like I saw Metallica there, like small place, in the 80s. And I was really into metal, and I was really into punk for a minute. And then I don't remember who gave me what, but at one point I heard Skinny Puppy, and I was like, that's weird, that's interesting. And then someone gave me a Bauhaus album, and I was like, oh my God, this is incredible. I was so into it. And then I started to figure out, so back then there was no internet, obviously. It was really hard to figure out what music there was, and sometimes you could get a magazine, and if it was like music magazine, there would be ads in the back for pen pals, and it wasn't weird like it would be now, right? So you would write to these people, and you would exchange tapes with cassette tapes with them, and they would do these little things called FBs, like fan books, and each page had a different person from another place had painted it or drawn on it and wrote a bunch of their favorite bands, and then they would pass that on to the next person they wrote to, and then that person would pass it on, and they would go on and on. So I found a lot of bands through those weird little FBs because I answered ads in the back of some like weird alternative magazine, right? And it was kind of fun. I feel like it's too easy now. There's what's the thrill of the hunt, right?
Yeah.
You just go,
quick and convenient.
It's like everything's there. You don't even have to go out of your house. If you like something, Spotify will tell you what else you like, So it's, the charm is kind of gone, but that's good because music should stay really important to people. So I guess there's good and bad.
Many people would agree that goth subculture has grown in popularity in recent years. Does that surprise you in any way?
It does, because I don't know if that's true. I don't know. I was in a goth band called Unto Ashes, and we played out quite a bit in the 90s, and the crowds were crazy, and I feel like, and we played at this goth festival called Convergence, which happened every year in different cities. It was an all goth festival. and we played at one in Seattle, and there was 1,000 people there, and I almost passed out, but it was a great experience, and I feel like there was a lot more then. Now I feel like it's kind of crept back underground, but maybe is coming up a little more again. At least the look is, because I'm seeing on Instagram like a lot of young people doing goth looks and crazy, goth makeup, which, I like that. It's cool. I don't know. I always liked it.
I'm going to have you look at Serena's profile.
Okay.
So it's like a bit of her personality, and it shows her like design.
Okay.
Yeah.
Serena is Alex's fantasy girl. Her exotic goth style is off-putting at first, but she's actually a very likable, positive person. She works at Starbase 12 with Matt. What is Starbase 12?
The comic book store.
Okay, that makes sense. Creatively unfocused, she writes poetry, designs clothes, makes jewelry, and plays the zither. Wow. Serena has dated a string of junkies, posers, and manic depressives. She claims she's ready to meet a nice guy, but she rarely notices them when they are around. Is the question, is this mostly me?
So like, yeah,
because it is.
Yeah. So like, what do you think about her personality and her design as well?
I mean, the look wasn't quite where I was, but similar, and I definitely dated some junkies and manic depressives. That was rough in the 90s, or late 80s, early 90s. I don't necessarily know if I'm creatively unfocused, though. I think I'm actually a pretty focus-driven person. Even when I had 4 jobs, I'm doing them all to the most. So I still haven't met that nice guy. I'm in the middle of a divorce. Great. Who's Alex?
Oh, and Alex, yeah, I'll show you.
Alex is smart, skeptical, and intentionally unhip, but can't seem to overcome his self-conscious nature. His shyness and lack of confidence keep him from getting what he wants: a girlfriend, a better job, a more exciting life. Alex tends to develop frustrating crushes on unattainable women. I have a lot of those that are here all the time when I'm working. Although he wants to break away from his gang of comic book reading, action figure collecting, social misfits, it is with them that he feels most at home. He is overqualified for his job at Reproman's, a copy shop.
Yeah.
So
what do you think about him, his personality, his design?
I mean, I think I know guys like this. I think they still exist. I think men overreach even more these days, and maybe are less shy, but maybe that's just the ones that I meet. I think social media has made people really bold behind a screen, but maybe not necessarily in real life. So it's, things have changed for sure. But when I'm here, I have lots of like Star Wars nerds and comic book geeks and Dungeons and Dragons and whatever, and it's, I think it's kind of cute, actually.
Yeah, I think I saw an interview of yours, I think, where you like referred to this place as like the Isle of Misfit Toys.
Yes,
yeah,
I do call it the Isle of Misfit Toys. It's very true, and a lot of people that I am around now are people that were weirdos back when, in the 80s or 90s, and there's even people here that, were literally born in 2000. So it's crazy. We get a real big age range here, but I like that everyone feels like they can come together and hang out, whether they're into punk, or we have a piercer that has all this crazy, insane stuff going on her, and a lot of people are just over the top, but no one complains. Everyone's happy to see each other here, and it's kind of nice. I also like that I can mostly walk down the street now and not be harassed, which was not the way it was back then. So yeah.
So at Michael Wedmeyer 5807 asks, would you and Alex be friends in real life?
Maybe. I think I have a couple of friends like this, honestly. But it would depend. I feel like my friends, it's more about a vibe, so it would be hard for me to know from reading this. But I have a really good friend who's very quiet and shy, and has a lot of problem with girls and all that stuff. But I love him. He's great. We exchange books and things like that. I have a few friends that are similar to this, but again, it's hard to say based on this little.
Right.
Yeah, blurb.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on New York City now? Do you prefer how the city was in the 90s, or do you like it better now?
I don't even know where to start. What I will say is in the 80s, when I was a teenager, it was very unsafe. It was scary to go to the East Village. No one went beyond First Avenue. It was junkie city. in the burned out buildings there were squatters, and a lot of the dealers would be up in the squats, and some of them didn't even have windows, and junkies would come, and like a coffee can on a string would come down, and they'd put their money in, and it would go back up, and then the drugs would come back down, and that was just how it was. I mean, again, there's no internet, there's no cell phones, there's no beepers still, there was pay phones, but what the hell are you going to do with that? So the unsafeness, I'm glad that it got better, and in all truth, in the 90s it still wasn't super safe, but it was getting better and better and better to go into Avenue A, Avenue B, and then it got almost too whitewashed. I feel like Manhattan is for rich yuppies at this point. There's no cool spots left anymore. All of the old like punk, metal, goth places are mostly in Brooklyn now, or Ridgewood, Queens border. So it's interesting to me where alternative people have to creep into different places because they can't be in the mainstream areas anymore. But then COVID happened, and now things are a little less safe again. So
yeah, that's true. Very true. After all these years, what are your thoughts on Marilyn Manson now?
I still think he's a piece of shit. And the number of women that came out saying that he did horrible things to them, I'm a pretty good judge of character. But I never liked his music in the first place, so it wasn't really my thing.
I actually have a gift for you.
Oh, no.
So I had this, hold on, I shouldn't say until I take it. So I had this actually custom made for you.
You're crazy.
Because,
Is it a shirt?
Yeah, it's a shirt. So the thing is, I wasn't sure if you ever got like memorabilia from the show.
I didn't.
Like, contributing to it.
I actually didn't. This is amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's
so
very
it's
cool.
always with you. Yeah.
And I didn't. I didn't even see the show right away. It was kind of like, and then someone had a DVD set or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah, back then,
Yeah.
and that's how I saw most of it, because I don't think I watched it in real time. And then I forgot about it until I saw a friend of mine saw your and was like, Melody, is this you? I was like, yeah, that's me.
Yeah, I saw the comment, and then I saw you commenting.
Yeah, so that's, and then I said, oh, you know what? That's true. That did happen. But so many insane things have happened to me in my life. It just was like another weird thing. Because people are like, oh my God, they made a character. I was like, yeah, I don't know. I've always been in the center of a lot of insanity. So just another insane thing. I actually don't even know how it happened. I just looked at Instagram one day and it was like almost 40,000 followers. And I was like, what the hell is going on here? So, it's nice that people pay attention, and I like to post a lot of like uplifting things in my stories, like things about picking yourself up and, not being miserable, because I've been miserable, I've been depressed, I've been, on a lot of meds back then, and it's nice to kind of try to tell other people that are now there, or that age, when I was really floundering, like that it's going to be better, that it's going to get better.
That's really good, actually, because we need more of that. There's not a lot of people that talk about mental health.
Yeah.
It's good that you put those messages up on
yeah,
your socials.
it's important.
So now I just have one more thing to show you.
Trust me, I'm not looking forward to it either. But I figure I've already had the worst job in the world, so it wouldn't be so bad.
Yeah? What were you, a dominatrix or something?
That. No, one summer I was a dunk tank girl at Pippi's, this kiddie amusement park. I think the reason I attracted so much business is because I grew up in the neighborhood. Everyone hated me. Yeah, I was so different from them. I'd yell like, you fit me in a pink shirt. You sound like a freaking girl.
That's a literal quote from me.
Yeah.
I had water on my nose constantly.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I worked in a dunk tank
Yeah.
for like 3-4 summers in a row when I was a teenager. I actually did become a dominatrix at one point, so that's very funny in the 90s. It was the weirdest job ever, but I kind of came from a weird place, and it made sense to have a job like that where it's just about the mouth, because I've always been very vocal about things. So, getting people to spend money to try to drown me wasn't that hard,
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is. It's crazy because they did that a lot with the other interviews where they took exactly
what they
and
said.
put it in, and everyone's like so amazed by that.
Yeah.
You know, because I actually uploaded the interviews online because it wasn't really available, like it wasn't really easily accessible.
Right.
And people noticed that. They noticed yours especially.
Yeah.
Like, they took exactly
They
what you
took,
said.
yeah, that's crazy.
And so just to wrap things up, if you would like to plug in anything to.
If you're ever in Brooklyn, check out Lucky 13 Saloon. We have, it's like a heavy metal bar. Sometimes we have punk, sometimes we have rock, sometimes we have hardcore. We have bands in the back, only a few nights a week, not every night. And in the front is a regular bar. We have go-go girls. A lot of them look like goths or metalheads or punks, and some of them are very pierced and tattooed, and it's like awesome. And I'm happy to welcome anyone here, and I feel like this is one of the few bars where people can go by themselves and still have a good time. So, lucky13saloon.com. There it is.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Man, that was really fun. That was really great.
Thank you for this. That was
Yeah.
so sweet of you.
You're welcome.